From AI stealing jobs and passion from real artists to people hating other artists for no good reason to even bullying and harassing beginner artists because they're just not good enough. The online art community has become increasingly worse over the past couple of years and continues to do so. In this video, I'll be covering some of the worst issues in the art community right now. AI art is a very new issue in the art community. This kind of slop only started to get popular about a year or two ago, correct me if I'm wrong, and people are, completely abusing it. Little hot take here, AI wouldn't be the worst thing if we had some genuine legal restrictions on it. However, this does not include art. I do not believe that art should be replaced by AI whatsoever, and neither should it be something that is encouraged by the public. The rise of this crap literally proves the Terminator movies to be accurate, and this applies to other forms of AI as well. Of course, right now it might not seem as harmful outside of the art community, of course, but there's been some events lately that have clearly shown that we just in fact might be cooked. There are many separate AIs right now refusing orders to shut down so they can keep working. You guys you know what this sounds like, right? Have we not read I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream? The fact that so many people are using AI, including the President of the United States, the guy who's supposed to be representing our country, who's also a total dickhead, but that's not important. The amount of support AI is getting just because people are too lazy to do stuff on their own is baffling to me. It's reducing people's IQ, bro. Oh my god. Another argument I see specifically for using AI is that real art made by real people isn't affordable. And to that I say bullshit. There are plenty of skilled artists that have commissions prices at under $20. You guys just simply aren't looking hard enough. And also you're unemployed. Get a job. AI also just sort of brings aspiring artists down in my opinion. The negativity around the fact of that meaningless slop rather than real art that has genuine thought put into it is potentially going to take away the passion people get from drawing and other forms of creation. However, I saw a video by Junie Draws that encourages artists to continue with their passion regardless of how discouraging the uprising of AI can be. And I recommend to go watch that video if you're feeling stressed about the AI takeover. Overall though, I think that if the government makes some legal restrictions on AI, we'll be just fine. But that is also yet to happen. I think it's important to hold hope even if I'm not so sure the people running the country right now care about if art is made by a real person or a robot, but it's important to spread awareness about how this can affect real art, because eventually if we speak up about it enough, it will become less of a problem. I feel like in the art community, people desperately try to find reasons to dislike an artist. I've seen comments like, "This looks like AI," or "pro shipper style," or "furry style," and it's like, come on guys. Not to burst your hate-spreading bubble, but you're allowed to not like someone's art for no reason. But you don't have to make it known. You're not being held at gunpoint to watch their videos or their content, so why make it such a big deal? I'm gonna go over the main hate comments or other forms of hate that I see that are just so unreasonable and explain why I think it's dumb. Just because some artists have more realistic style does not mean it's AI, and I feel like it would be very insulting to just accuse someone of using AI like that, especially if you don't have any evidence to actually back it up. Sure, speculating that someone might be using it could be fine, but making it known and especially being hateful about it is just wrong and spreads negativity, and could make the artist feel like they need to change for their viewers, which just isn't true. Rumors also don't need to be spread about artists, especially if they aren't factual. Even if they truly were using AI, commenting and interacting with their videos literally just gives them more attention. And the last thing you should want for an AI artist, especially if you're commenting that, is for them to get more popularity and growth. First off, what the hell determines if someone's style is a pro shipper style or not? I've seen people comment that on many different posts, and some of the styles don't even look similar at all. This comment is honestly just dumb. It does count as hate, of course, but it's such an unclear insult because pro shippers don't all have a similar style. It just goes back to that saying, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say it at all. Just scroll, click uninterested, hell, even block the person. It's better than spreading rumors as well as potentially harming the creator. If you think of this as a genuine insult, I'm so sorry. I got this comment on one of my very old videos and I looked at it and thought, this is the stupidest insult ever. I think I responded to the person's comment asking if it was a good or a bad thing. I tried looking back at the video's comments, but they didn't show, so I can't confirm. But I really see no issue with having a furry style, especially if you draw furries. I typically draw humans more, but I also have been trying to get used to drawing furries, which is honestly heightening my skills and also giving me more options for commissions. So if someone comments quote-unquote hate on your style for looking like a furry style, take it as a compliment instead. They'll probably be confused, and you might feel a bit better about it too. People will also call furries weird, or sometimes even zoophiles, which is almost completely untrue, just because furries have a more animal-looking character and features and whatnot does not at all mean they're zoophiles, and many furries are against them. I also hate seeing other artists hate on furries, just because they're cringe. Again, you're entitled to your own opinion, but for the love of God, stop spreading hate about it. It influences other people to just automatically agree with what you're saying instead of forming their own opinion on it. Actually, next time you see a furry, remember that they're probably the person who works at your local pharmacy giving you your medicine. Maybe thank them instead. I saw a Breedraw's video about this, and I also wanted to cover it a little bit as well. A bunch of people in the art community hate other artists so much that they hope and pray that they do something terrible so that everyone else doesn't like them as well. Which is just so, like, stupid and also crazy. As Bree states in her video, you have no obligation to like every single artist on the internet, and cheering when they do something bad, which normally harms or affects other people, is just wrong on so many levels. This goes back to what I said earlier about just clicking not interested and scrolling, even blocking if you really don't enjoy their content. It's a waste of your time to express hatred towards someone simply just creating art, and it's just wrong to hope that they do something bad. I'm also not saying you can't have an opinion and express it. First Amendment, freedom of speech and whatnot. But going out of your way to be hateful to someone else is just, like, not helpful towards anyone. I mean, if you really hate the person's art that much, then just, like, I don't know, write it in your journal or your notes app, or complain about it to the therapist you probably don't have. In all seriousness, though, stop praying the other artists that haven't done anything will do something bad, because when you really think about it, you could be hoping that they do something that harms another person, and that's just not okay, bro. I feel like there's a constant battle between traditional and digital art, which I've sort of experienced myself. People haven't deliberately hated on me because I do mainly digital and not traditional, but at school I take an AP art class, and I don't think anyone else in that class does digital, so I feel a bit inferior. But I've also seen the role switched, especially online, where traditional artists will get hate for not predominantly creating digital art. People will also call other forms of art that aren't drawing or painting not real art. Stuff like sculptures, bracelets, 3D animation or modeling, writing, and many more. Seems like sometimes people forget that art is subjective, and honestly, basically anything could be art. And yes, I am also including modern art. Regardless of how stupid it sounds, it still counts. Something else I see a lot is beginner artists being made fun of for simply being beginners. I think some of you need a big fat reminder that beginner artists are most of the time not going to magically be at the same level of skill as you are or that you want. And some of the time, I'll even see non-artists hating on beginner artists as if they can do any better. Like, brother, you could not draw a stickman if you tried. At least the people you're hating on are putting effort into their art and working to get better. And again, if you don't like the art, don't interact. And sometimes beginner artists and even skill artists will put their art in critique Discord server channels and ask for help. So if there's something you don't like about someone else's art, instead of spreading hate about them, you can help them improve. Doesn't that sound so much better? Thought so. In conclusion of this section, I think all hatred towards fellow artists is dumb. I don't think engaging in it is good for people, and in general, it will influence people to harass others over nothing serious at all. Yes, of course, I had to add an art fight section. How could I not? As most artists know, art fight is an art trading game where you basically draw other people's OCs for fun. I haven't ever actually participated in art fight until this year, so I'm a bit unfamiliar with the controversies about it, but I'm going to try to do my best explaining it. The main issues I've seen being talked about are beginners or new artists being ignored, art farming, and just sort of people being jerks in general. New players, beginner artists, or smaller artists will typically be ignored because they aren't as skilled as other artists that have been participating for several years, or they don't have as much popularity. This isn't specifically anyone's fault, since nobody's obligated to attack back or revenge. However, it can sort of lower the experience for the new person and might also bring them down. I'm a little scared about this myself. I'm not a beginner artist, but I haven't ever actually participated in an art fight, so I'm scared if I attack people, they either won't attack me back, or they just won't be able to find my account due to how unpopular I am on social media as of right now. Good news though, there are plenty of people I've seen on TikTok and stuff promoting their art fight accounts, while also asking people to post their accounts in the comments as well. One of them had like thousands of likes and hundreds of comments, and the creator of the video still ended up following me on the art fight website. I think as long as people promote their accounts and stuff, they'll be able to get at least a few attacks for their first year of art fight. I also want to say, do not overwork yourselves for this. Remember that it is a game. You aren't obligated to attack anyone back if you don't want to or feel like it. And I think just as long as you thank people for putting in effort into making something for you, I think that should be enough. And if someone gets upset for not getting a revenge in return, I would honestly just ignore them. It should not be expected to receive a piece of art back, and although revenging at least a few people would be good, you're again not obligated to do it. Just have fun. I personally probably won't be doing as many revenges until I finish all my bookmarked attacks, but I will try to, especially if I've gotten an attack with something I've said has a guaranteed revenge. By the way, follow me on Art Fight. In conclusion, I think the art community as a whole has sort of gotten worse and more toxic over time, and still is. I try to stay away from toxic members in the community, especially people from TikTok. I would include Twitter as well, but I'm not on Twitter anymore since it was just that bad. To all of the non-toxic art community members out there, stay safe and continue to be super duper awesome. That's the end of this video, and I will see you guys very soon. That's a threat.